हरे कृष्ण अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया तिरुपीडितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So I welcome all of you for our proper reading session. So before we start, some few things I wanted to share. This there are two sections which are the seed verses for whole Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the second seventh chapter, fourth, fifth verses, where we have this Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranitaya Madai. That is the seed verses. And another seed verse is this ninth canto. There are four shlokas, which is giving the seed verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are the two sections where Srimad Bhagavatam, it is they are the two embryos from which the entire Bhagavatam grows. Ninth chapter, the second canto, and Srila Vyasdev and Sukadeva Goswami retells Srimad Bhagavatam. There is only a more detailed description of the explanation of these original verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, and in order to clearly understand, we have to understand the context of Srimad Bhagavatam. Like Srimad Bhagavatam is highly logical and consistent work. Although Srimad Bhagavatam is written in Samadhi state. Generally, Samadhi state means we consider that it will not be having any logic. Absence of logic is Samadhi. We say sometimes devotees scholar approach this approach is in Samadhi. But despite all this, Samadhi means it is more spontaneous. Even though it is so spontaneous, it observes a very strict and deep sequence of logic, Srimad Bhagavatam. The first song of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami comes to the sages who are performing sacrifice in the forest of Naimisharanya. The sacrifice in the ancient system is often, it's a very long process. And what happens is the fruit for this long practice is a person gains inner purity. That knowledge is gained. Now, a very important thing, I just wanted to share few things. Like why we become unhappy because we are in this dual world. As long as uh, as uh, we are connected to this duality, we continue to remain unhappy. Like say, uh, uh, we cannot gain proper knowledge if we are affected by duality. That is a very important thing. Like success, failure, happiness, distress, fame, infamy. We cannot take them seriously if we are really serious interested in spiritual life. A person's spiritual knowledge, all these things are due to ignorance only. Like Arjuna was chastised by Krishna says, how can you be in such a ignorance? You are considering, you are taking this dualities very seriously. If you are taking this duality very seriously, that is the cause of ignorance. If a person in knowledge, that's why the knowledge itself is happiness in many ways, because you are free from duality. That is the chit potency. Sandhini Samvit. Samvit is the chit. Sat chit ananda. Chit is knowledge. The knowledge factor makes only a person very happy. If I am free from the duality, like now, the duality is because of false identification. Prakriti क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. Because I am identifying with this duality. Sorry, because of this false ego, I identify. And because identification, then there is pain and pleasure. So now all these Indian people, their heart was broken few days back when India lost the cricket match. Now why they become unhappy? because they identify themselves as Indian. You identify as an Indian, then you have, even though it is happening by Prakriti, it is Prakriti Krimanan, the whatever modes of nature only acting. Their bodies are made of different modes. The modes are manipulating things, and modes are acting. Because I identify that I am in this Indian, even the modes are acting, but it is causing me pain. Arey, I am Indian, India lost. This false ego as identification is losing. As such, nothing happened to me. Somebody is playing, something else has happened. Because I identified with that, that's why I was very hurt. That is what is causing me pain. If I don't identify as an Indian, whether this country wins or that country wins does not matter only for me, because I identified. Now, say some soccer match is happening between some countries in some counties in like in between some counties in America or some other European nation. Many Indians don't affect only. Why? They didn't identify that. Here I identify that ahankara vimudhatma, that identification causes problems. So if I am thinking I am an Indian, you will be suffer. The identity, like if I'm thinking I am this body, then and another thing is like this is always the cause of duality. Same thing, my house. If I'm saying this is my house, definitely you will have pain because we'll compare with other house. Array, their house is better than my house. This house is not better than me, so I am better than them. My house is better than them. Their house is better than me. So the duality will always come because I identified with my house. Same thing, identify with my body. Oh, I am not so smart. I am not so good looking. They are good looking. So identification is pain. So simple. Krishna is telling Arjuna how kutastva kashmalamidam vishame anadya chishtum asargam akirtikaram Arjuna. He's telling how can you identify with these things? You are Aryan. You should be going ahead. You have to be on a spiritual platform, spiritual knowledge. If I lack this knowledge, I have to go through the pain. That's why when Arjuna was going through pain, what Krishna did, he gave him the knowledge. So ignorance is caused. What is that ignorance? The false identification. It's a very simple point. If I am getting pain in my life, I am feeling that because of this duality, dvanda, pleasure, pain. We have to be free from this pleasure pain. If I am aspiring for pleasure, I have to accept the pain also. It is very simple. If I don't aspire for pleasure, then I will never be painful in life. Because I want India to win, that's why I feel pain when it loses. If I don't want any, no expectations, no happiness, then there is very question of pain only. So simple. But of course, now for this, now the important point. Now I say, okay, duality is there. How to come out of it? That's why there is a process of ignition. That sacrifice is what makes me help come out of this duality. Sacrifice gives me knowledge. That's why the sages of Naimisharan during sacrifice to gain knowledge and to help others also to gain knowledge. What does sacrifice means? Now I say I am sacrificing for my country, I am sacrificing for my family. Will I get that knowledge? So I'll ask your opinion. So if I sacrifice for my family, like we are telling sacrifice, we have to do sacrifice, and Krishna is telling the process of yajna. You have to do for somebody else, not for yourself. That's the way to gain knowledge. Sacrifice yajna sistamrita bhujo yanti brahma sanatana. When you perform yajna, three benefits. You gain knowledge, you are free from sin, you are attaining the spiritual kingdom. Now, if I am doing for the family, is it sacrifice or not? Any of you want to share your comments? Hope you are understanding. See, I am in ignorance. Ignorance is cause is making me identify. That identification is making me into duality. Duality causing pain. I want to be free from pain means I should be free from duality. That means I should stop identifying. Stop identifying me. I should be in knowledge, right? Now to gain knowledge, what is the process? Sacrifice is the process. That's what Krishna is explaining in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad. Now Arjuna, he's Krishna is giving this knowledge. When Arjuna is in painful, Krishna gave the knowledge. Now, loss is sacrifice. Now, if I'm doing for the family, will I, is the sacrifice I'm doing? No, I'm working very hard for my family. Is it sacrifice or not? Any, only I got one answer. Others are not hearing or they didn't understand. Any of you? Okay, Bhakti will give detachment. I'm asking about sacrifice. Sacrificing for family will give knowledge or not? If I'm sacrificing, sacrifice gives knowledge. If I sacrifice, okay, at least few answers. Only Excel. Okay, I got one yes, remaining all no. Now, why not for family? Because even family is also considered as vivaha yajna, and then you are going through the family. Family can also be sacrificed. There is a catch in here. Family also can be a sacrifice, and you can gain knowledge in family also, but it should be done properly. What happens is when I do something, yeah, it should be done in connection with Krishna, but we say, but how to do it? That I want to tell that point. Sacrifice for it is selfish reason. Still, you can gain knowledge. Sacrifice the main thing for the sacrifice is you don't expect anything in return from the object you are giving. Like say I am doing sacrifice for family. If I'm expecting anything in return, then it is not sacrifice. I just want to please the person whom I am doing, nothing in return. Then we gain knowledge. It becomes proper sacrifice. Let's say I am doing chanting the holy name. We ours is Sankirtana Yajna. I am chanting the holy name. Then who should be happy by that my sacrifice? Lord should be happy. Then only it is sacrifice. Any activity like this, they are performing this sages or performing this yajna and naimisharanya, or any activity which we are doing, not expecting anything in return, you gain full benefit. Like I am doing even for family, no expectations. They may respond to you, they may not respond to you. But still you have done it, you are going to gain. That is how the system is. If I am expecting my wife should reciprocate, my husband to reciprocate, my children should treat me well, I have done so much for them, then done. That is not a sacrifice, it is selfishness. Selflessly, we can do sacrifice means I don't want anything. Even if they don't thank me, also, I will do it. If we are able to do it, then we gain knowledge. We are free from duality. This is the point here. Anyway, that we will discuss on Saturday more elaborately, this point of sacrifice. But what I want to tell is our unhappiness is cause of ignorance only. Nothing. Krishna want to help us to come out of ignorance. If you remember Nectar of Devotion also, what is the cause of our being in this material? Just ignorance. Knowledge is through sacrifice. We have to perform this sacrifice and sacrifice such a why Krishna so much. And Kali Yuga, the sacrifice is Sankirtana Agni. This is it. Previously, it was so difficult. Now it is quite easy, comparatively easy, but still it is not so easy. It looks very easy, but it is very difficult also because the ego is very strong for us. We will discuss that also, and how our ego makes us identify still with body and all. That is the reason we need a spiritual master who helps us, that I start identifying myself as servant of my spiritual master. That's why this Ritvik philosophy don't work because they cannot identify. We identify ourselves with Prabhupada, but we need a living guru whom we can identify with. And the sacrifice is a long process. A person, he starts acquiring inner purity. That is what is needed. That knowledge will make. And the sales of Naimisharanya, they gathered. They knew that Kali had come and it will be very difficult for people. And we are all victims of Kali Yuga. We are born in a very, very difficult time. And they are doing the great sacrifice. And as a result of sacrifice, the sages of Naimisharan said, our faces only became black. We didn't get anything much from it. They'll say that the smoke is coming, that's all. Now, but in between the intervals, they would have discussion on the pastimes of Lord. Sutta Goswami, Sutta means they are meant to narrate stories. So Sutta is a person who knows story. That means they know the essence of the Shastras. Sutta are the people in the Vedic culture. They actually describe the chronological history, or uh, guardians of chronological history, which is very important in order to allow people to understand their place and role in this world. That's why these narrations are given. Now, now in between the sacrifices, they used to have kirtan and Puranas were told stories to that are necessary to set people in the right way and give them an in-depth understanding of what they are doing. That's why we need to hear the stories. Previously, they were doing yajnas and they were hearing this pastime to give them more in-depth understanding. Now, for us also we have to hear because we are dancing, we are singing. We need to hear some philosophy to make us set in a right understanding what. Because any ajna without understanding the meaning of what we are doing, it turns into a ritual. This is actually what happens in South India. They don't know, they don't have any understanding. They don't even hear any katha. They only end up in doing rituals. So many rituals are done here. In the temple we go, any festival, morning till evening rituals are performed and people do at their house also. If we dance in Kirtan without understanding the purpose, it will also remain ritual. And I was in Vrindavan and till day before yesterday. And so many people come and they say, oh, Kirtan means we have to dance. And they dance at Dandi also, they dance in marriage also, they dance in front of. They feel it's ritual. It's not that some ancient savages they're dancing around the fire and they got together and dancing around the fire. It's not like that. It is necessary and essential element of any yajna, the element of telling the Puranas or stories. And the sages of Naimisharanya, they turned to Sutta Goswami to tell them Srimad Bhagavatam and in particular asked him six fundamental questions, six of which Srimad Bhagavatam, it is developed in that and which made Bhagavatam what it is, what we are reading now. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam is precisely the questions that determine the mood of Sutta Goswami telling the Srimad Bhagavatam because they just want to know something very high. Because the questions are very high, the mood of the speaker is also different. And because they said we have read a lot of things, we know so many things, we have already passed our all possible exams, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Wave, everything. Now tell us meaning of all these things. That's what they're asking. Now tell us the essence and tell us very essence of religion or a person's responsibility which can make a person truly happy. And then we know the answers. Tavaipum Sambaro Dharmo Eto Bhakti Radakshya Ahitaki Apratita Ye Atma Suprasidati. Now he gave them absolutely correct answers, telling them what they are very essence of dharma, and he explained the essence and all. Now the last of the sixth question, which is very important, where did the principles of religion or the commandments of religion take refuge? Where are they? Because it is not enough to say that here it is the essence of religion. Essence of religion. Where can I find these principles? How can I find? Especially in the darkness of this age when Krishna left, and and we can see also Kali Yuga. So many things are there. It's completely people are so much into real high level of darkness. We cannot if somebody is properly reading scriptures, they can understand. Like uh, just people, they live without any knowledge of purpose of life only. They are just living. Such a very pathetic state for many people. Of course, before Krishna consciousness, we also don't know anything, and it is completely dark. That's why they are asking this. Now here, uh, very important is the uh, this Bhagavatam. This few verses after explaining this story and all, we have this few verses where Sukadeva Goswami is going to tell what did Lord tell Bhagavatam, what is the Bhagavatam that is explained to Brahmaji, and that is elaborated now. We will just do a revision of what we have discussed because it's a long break for us. I'll just read the translations. We have discussed these things, and of course, we had uh, some other topics also we discussed in between. So the questions, okay, unless one is so previous chapter, if you remember, each chapter is only questions by Parikshit Maharaj. Full question after question after question. And in the end, Parikshit Maharaj says, okay, I have asked everything. But if you feel I have not asked something which I am supposed to ask, you answer them also, which I have not asked. Which you feel is important, you answer them also. That means any other topic which you feel is important for me to know, you explain it. Now, Sukadeva Goswami starts answering the questions. So these questions are also very, very important because Parikshit Maharaj is about to leave his body. Now, in that state, he is asking questions. That means it is relevant for all of us because we are also going to leave our body. We need to know, okay, these are the answers which are important for a person who is about to leave his body. These are the things which we need to know. And now Sukadeva Goswami is answering. What do you need to know? He says, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of Supreme Personality of God, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working. This is the point. He says that unless one is influenced by energy, there is no meaning in relationship. So we are all influenced by energy of Supreme Lord. uh, we are so much affected by this Maya's energy, and we have discussed this. The spirit soul is distinct from material conception, but it's absorbed in such a material conception because influenced by the external energy called Atma. We are influenced by it, and that influence is what makes us identify with this body, and that is the cause of all our pain. If I am, as long as I'm identifying, I have to go through the pain. Nobody's cause of our pain. My identification is cause of my pain. I have to get the pain of the defeat or failure because I identify. So I gave the example of if I'm identifying as an Indian, I'll be always unhappy or happy based on the result of cricket or any other thing. Especially for Indians, it is so much cricket. It like pains so many people. But of course, we should not laugh at that. But we should know it is cause of ignorance. The pain is not because of they got defeated. The pain is because its material nature acts. It is not the players also, unfortunately. They don't understand us. They think that this player did not play nicely or he played nicely, he didn't play nicely. It is not players also there. It is the Prakriti Kriyamanani. The modes only act. There is no question because the spirit soul in the body of any of these people, either it comes to even any other situation, the spirit soul is aloof. He has made himself in such a way that he is influenced by Prakriti like that and he is acting like that. And yeah, next shloka tells about that only. Aham बहुरूप विभाति माया बहुरूपया रममानो गुणेश अस्य maham iti manyate. See, the illusioned living entity appears in so many forms offered by the external energy of Lord while enjoying in the modes of mental nature. The encaged living entity misconceives thinking in terms of I and mine. Very clear. We are identifying I and mine. Prabhupada gave very nice purport in this. And then next sloka says, Erhi va mahim mahim nishve परस्मिन् कालमाययो रमेत गतसम्मोहः त्यक्तोदास्येति तदो bhayam. He says, as soon as the living entity becomes situated in the constitutional glory and began to enjoy the transcendental beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life. What are they? I and mind. Thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self. This is the point here. This is a very nice purport. I hope you remember. If you don't remember, please read the purport again. You have done the purport. I'll not take it. I'll come to the fourth one. I hope you are all clear. No questions, comments till now. We'll start our discussions. आत्मतत्त्वविशुद्ध्यर्थं यद् आह भगवान् रथिं ब्रह्मणे दर्शयन् रूपम् अव्यलीक व्यतादृतः. Now, see what is happening. Just by telling that you are not the body, we are free from that suffering. Of course, we need to get that realization. But that information is also because the knowledge part helps us to get rid of that ignorance and we are free from suffering. And that is the point. We want to get free from suffering means we need to gain a proper transcendental knowledge. That's it. And to gain that knowledge, now we have information. To make that information into knowledge, what we should do? We should perform sadhana. Sadhana in terms of excuse me. We have to serve Vaishnavas, chant the holy name, serve the Lord, and assist devotees in Sankirtan Yajna, Kirtan, distributing books, or whatever, preaching. By doing this, this is a part of our sadhana which will help us making that information into knowledge. Simple. And the important thing is not to commit offenses. Don't commit offenses and continuing our sadhana, we can make this information into a realized knowledge. That is the purpose of our life. No other purpose. Purpose of life is sadhana only. We apply tilak, we put kantimala, we put bead bag, we go outside in the world. Because people are in ignorance, they are suffering. And everybody need to do this thing only. They have to chant to come out of that ignorance. People feel shy going outside with bead bag, kantimala, tilak. They feel, oh, how can we not feel shy? They are all doing wrong. We need to help them. At least some sincere fellow out of 1 lakh people who saw you on that day or few thousand people, at least one will get inspired. Maybe I should also do like this. That is what is helpful for them because they're completely ignorant. I was coming from Vrindavan to Hyderabad. I was saying like it is so difficult for people. They're so much absorbed in their materialistic life because so much identifying themselves with the body and suffering very badly. They cannot. We have to help them. Don't identify so much yourselves with the body. It will become. It will make you so much miserable. We are not the body. We are spirit soul. This is what we have to help them understand. He says, Sukadeva Goswami says, O king, the personality of Godhead being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal for the purifying conditions. So, see, this is the objective goal, very clear goal. What is that? To please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how we can please? With our penance in bhakti. That's how we please. What is the goal? To please the Supreme Lord. And how? By penance in Bhakti Yoga. So the Goswami is giving it so clear. Yeah. Sigov Mata is sharing. My old students said the same, that they got inspired by my Tilak and how they are initiated. Yes. Yeah, that is, we have to help them to come out of ignorance, at least by our being some of the living entities who are little bit sincere. They will also get inspired because they are so much suffering outside. Their suffering is not because of the situations outside. Their suffering is because they are identifying with that situations. That's why they are suffering. Otherwise, there is no suffering as such. If I'm identifying with, say, uh, some situation, say I'm identifying as if I am the so much very scholarly person, and if some other scholar comes and defeats me, it is very painful. If I know that I am not very scholarly, I am just some student learning. And if when somebody comes and defeats me, also I feel very grateful. Yeah, yeah, no, he helped me to understand that I don't know much. Let me understand. If I am not identifying, there's no point of pain only. So, and Prabhupada gives nice purport. He says, Atma Tattva is the science of both God and living entity. Both the Supreme Lord, the living entity is known as Atma. The Supreme Lord is Paramatma and the living entity is called Atma, the Brahman or the Jiva. Both Paramatma and Jivatma being transcendental to material energy are called Atma. So, Sudhir Goswami speaks this verse from the aim of purifying the truth of both the Paramatma and Jivatma. Generally, people have many wrong conceptions about both of them. The wrong conception of Jivatma is to identifying the material body with the pure soul, and the wrong conception of Paramatma is to think him as equal level with the living entity. Both misconceptions can be removed by one stroke of Bhakti Yoga, just as in the sunlight, both the sun and the world and everything within the sunlight are properly seen. In darkness, one cannot see the sun, nor himself, nor the world. But in the sunlight, one can see the sun himself and the world around him. Srila Sudhir Goswami therefore says that for purification of both wrong conception, that Lord presents his external energy before Brahma, external form before Brahmaji, being fully satisfied by Brahma's non-deceptive vow of discharging Bhakti Yoga. Except for Bhakti Yoga, any method for realization of Atma Tattva or science of Atma will prove deceptive in the long run. Yeah, that is a different topic. So the point is, our sadhana will what pleases the Lord, and Lord will give us that realization. One more important thing, we need to also accept whatever Lord is giving and proceed in our life. That will also help us to make our mind very peaceful, which is important for our sadhana. One of the part of sadhana is to accept whatever situation Lord has arranged, not try to manipulate. Then it makes so much endeavor in life which is not actually needed. We are unnecessarily making so much endeavors for many things because we want to change the situations which Lord has arranged for us. That's and it won't work. Anyway, it will happen according to Lord's will. Why I need to unnecessarily make an endeavor? We just have to work with our best capacity, but not make prayasa, not endeavor. Tyahara prayasascha. That is not needed. Our for us, we need to put faith. Maybe this is what Lord wants for me, and this much is needed. That much He is giving anyway. Why I need to be in anxiety? What is the difference? Is working a devotee also does, a materialistic person also does. Materialistic person is always anxious for the result. Devotee is not anxious because he knows whatever is needed for me, Krishna will provide. When we when we start free from anxiety, that because that anxiety is because of ignorance again. I didn't we are so much attached to result. That's why we are in anxiety. If I'm not interested in result, why in anxiety? Whatever Lord is providing, we have to be happy. That much is needed. That's all. He's telling Yogakshem Mahamyam. Why you need to be in anxiety? That is also part of sadhana. We have to start being peaceful. At least practice this. Lord, it is your will. I am accepting. Surrender. Both has a Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's all. And Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad, the Lord says that only by bhakti can one know Him perfectly. And this is also, the bhakti means we need to have that Shraddha. And then one can enter into the signs of God. Brahmaji undertook great penance in performing Bhakti Yoga, and thus he was able to see the transcendental form of the Lord. This transcendental form is 100% spiritual, and one can see him only by spiritualized vision after proper discharge of tapasya or penance in pure Bhakti Yoga. The form of Lord manifested before Brahmaji is not one of the forms with which we have experience in the material world. Brahmaji did not perform such severe types of penance just to see a form of material production. Therefore, the question by Maharaj Parikshit about the form of Lord is answered. The form of Lord is Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. And this is now the point Prabhupada makes nice. The summary is that due to ignorance, see, the conditioned soul is engaged in the temporary varieties of material form. That is because of ignorance. But the Supreme has no such temporary forms like the conditioned souls. He is always possessed of an eternal form of knowledge and bliss. And that is the difference between the Lord and the living entity. One can understand this difference by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Brahma was then told by the Lord the gist of Srimad Bhagavatam in four virginal verses. The Srimad Bhagavatam is not a creation of mental speculation. The sound of Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental, and the resonance of Srimad Bhagavatam is as good as that of the Vedas. Thus, the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of both the Lord and the living entity. The regular reading or hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is also performance of Bhakti Yoga. That is also sadhana. And one can attain highest perfection simply by the association of Srimad Bhagavatam. Both Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit attained perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is also part of our sadhana. Both because we are doing sadhana, we are getting information, and slowly that information turns into knowledge also, realized knowledge like that. Now, this is nice conclusion. Prabhupada is giving the summary, what it is, the purpose of Bhagavatam. And he says, Sadidevo Jagatam Paro Guru Swadhishnayam Asthaya Sri Shikshaya Kshata Tam Nadyagachat Drishamatra Sammatam Prapancha Nirmana Vidhirjaya Bhave. He says, Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seed, and while thinking of creating the material world, could not understand the proper direction for such creative work, nor could he find out the process for such creation. This is the point. Brahma could not trace out from where he came. He was in doubt. And while thinking of creation, he could not understand the proper direction. And this is what? This ignorance. This verse is a prelude for explaining the transcendental nature of the form and the abode of Lord. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is or has already been said that the Supreme Absolute Truth exists in his own abode without any touch of the deluding energy. Therefore, the kingdom of God is not a myth, but factually a different and transcendental sphere of planets known as the Vaikunthas. Thus, this will also be explained in this verse. Such knowledge of spiritual sky far above this material sky in this particular paraphernalia can be known only by dint of devotional service or bhakti yoga. The power of creation by Lord Brahma was also achieved by bhakti yoga. That means not only knowledge, we get strength also to perform further bhakti. And that means what Brahmaji is doing is further, whatever is creation is also bhakti yoga. Now, important point here is even though we have heard it, we are not the body, spirit, soul. That is not going to come so easily. We have confusion about ourselves and Supreme Lord. That's why Prabhupada is telling the Sudeva Goswami is telling in previous one, Prabhupada is explaining it, how to gain it. To get that realization that we have heard it, duality is cause of pain. How much we are going through pain. That means whenever we have to, what we have to do, one more thing is, whenever we are going through pain or anything happens, immediately we should bring this knowledge to our buddhi level. He says, yes, this pain is because of not the situation, because of my identification. Either it may be some dispute in the family or some outside or something. It is all because of identification only. It is not the cause. Situation is not the cause of our pain. It is so clear. We have to always remind us again and again. Like Jayadvath Maharaj, he is traveling in one devotee posted a photo. He went, Jayadvath Maharaj was traveling in a train, and in Kanpur, one devotee went to give him prasadam. And he saw Maharaj traveling in sleeper. And sleeper also, reservation is not confirmed, it is REC. And he went and so sorry, Maharaj, you are not even traveling in second AC and third AC, you are just traveling in a uh, this sleeper, that too without complete reservation. Maharaj said, oh, AC is hell. And he is so detached. Now, another thing, what he said is important. And when, like, he's asked, okay, how to love Krishna? He said, love for Krishna, ecstasy will come. First service, then samadhi later. You start serving, Krishna will give the bliss. And now this is a very important. We need to render service to get that realization. And that's how it happens. We are doing the service, we can achieve the highest thing by rendering service to Krishna. Because love means to serve. That is the important point. If I am loving means I start serving. So here that nice, they are free from dualities. That's why any situation they are very happy. I saw him in Vrindavan. He was just peacefully sitting and chanting, and nobody knows that he came and went also. It is not much bothered. Only is sitting in the sun and chanting Jayadvath Maharaj. And then he is going for his parikrama and attending some others yatra. It's quite peaceful. So it's not that you have to do so many things. The simple thing also you are realized, you can go back come back to God happily. So this is the very inspiring personalities. They are showing that this is bhakti is not that how much I have achieved, how much I have realized. That is, and here Brahmaji is gaining that strength to do it. Brahmaji was bewildered in the matter of creation. He could not trace out the source of his own. But all this knowledge was fully achieved by him through the medium of Bhakti Yoga. Simple. By Bhakti Yoga, one can know the knowledge, and knowing the Lord as a supreme, one is able to know everything else. One who knows the supreme knows everything else. That is the version of the Vedas. Even the first spiritual master of the universe was enlightened with the grace of Lord. So who else can attain perfect knowledge of everything without the mercy of Lord? If anyone desires to see perfect knowledge of everything, he must seek the mercy of the Lord, and there is no other means. To seek knowledge on the strength of one's personal attempt is a sheer waste of time. I am not telling some Maharajas going blind, they are doing things great. Everybody is realized. But there is somebody who are like very simple also. They are like more detached. Is quite detached and is quite. They are very focused also. Some are in a different mood. They are preaching and they also has great realizations. But there are others who are like this category also, which will make us feel that if Maharaj is doing like that, I can also be little lost here. try to. The intensity is what matters in bhakti. How much intensely we are doing. Yeah, everybody is doing, but why there is a difference in the progression? I 10 years he made so much advancement, 20 years I am here only. Because the intensity is not there. Intense bhakti is what makes a difference. सचिन्तयन् द्वय्यक्षरम् एकदाम्भस्य उपाशृणोद्भिर्गदितं वचो विभु स्पर्शेषु यच्छोडशमेकवैक्षम् निष्किञ्चनानान्निपयत्तनं विदु. He says that while thus engaged in thinking, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby in the water two syllables joined together. One of the syllables was 16th and the other was 21st of the sparsha letters, and they joined to become the wealth of the renounced daughter of life. So we have done this purpose. Again, I am doing revision because we have not. In Sanskrit language, the consonants are divided into two groups, namely Sparsha Varnas and the Tala Varnas. From Kha to Ma, the letters are known as Sparsha Varnas. 16 of the group is Ta, whereas the 26th letter is Pa. So when they are joined together, the word Tapa or penance is constructed. This penance is the beauty and wealth of Brahmanas, the renounced of life, according to Bhagavatam philosophy. Every human being is meant simply for this tapasya and for no other business because by penance only can one realize his self. But self realization, not sense gratification, is the business of human life. This is very important. Like I was talking to uh, the servant of Radhana Maharaj. He said Maharaj takes two bowls of khichdi every day. And he was sharing that he goes to some other house, they give something, and Maharaj takes. Maharaj tells, I take them, not that I like it. I take because you want to please the host. And Maharaj takes something which he says, I eat not because I like, I eat because it is good for my health. So don't think we like that, you make it again. Like, I eat only what is good for my health. That means no sense gratification only there. Like I eat, I have some Vrindavan, we go, some prasadam we get, and we get some sweet also in temple. And I also purchase some Mahaprasadam. So I eat because I like it. But in tapasya, and more tapasya they do, they feel ecstasy. They have more renounced the sense gratification, more they feel joyful. That is the state we have to achieve one day. That I have zero sense gratification, and you feel so happy. Yes, I didn't do any sense gratification today, only served Krishna. And that means more ecstasy. Raghunath Das Goswami used to curse himself. Once in a 2 3 days, he used to take one bowl of chas and used to be like, so much sense gratification I am doing. So, no sense. By tapasya only can one get the profit of human life. So nice. And not by polished civilization of animal life. That means more luxury. I have more luxury cars, more luxury mobiles, more luxury things at home. We cannot get self-realization. The animal does not know anything except sense gratification. In the jurisdiction of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. And people consider that success. Even devotees also they estimate. Okay, this person is very rich. He's a good. It's we should not calculate like animal does not know anything except eat, drink. But human being is made to undergo tapasya for going back home, back to God. When Lord Brahma was perplexed about how to construct the material manifestation in the universe and went down within the water to find out the means and source of his lotus seed, he heard the word tapa vibrated twice. Taking path of tapa is the second birth of the desiring disciple. When initiated means what? We are ready to perform tapasya. That's why who want initiations or who took initiations, the taking path of tapasya is second birth of that desiring disciple. The word upashrunot is very significant. Like if they are not ready to do tapasya, then they should not take initiation. Initiation means ready for tapasya. That's what Prabhupada is writing. It is similar to, I'm telling all this thing to myself. I'm not very austere. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna. Huh. It is similar to Upanayana or bringing the disciple nearer to the spiritual master for path of tapasya. So we are going to take initiation from Guru means we are ready to take the path of tapasya. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna. This fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in his book, the Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma had sung in every verse Govinda Mahadi Purushottamam. Thus, Brahmaji was initiated into the Krishna mantra by Lord Krishna himself, and thus he became a Vaishnava or a devotee of the Lord before he was able to construct the huge universe. Prabhupada writes, one who is thus initiated in the disciplic section is able to achieve the same result or power of creation. Chanting of this holy name, holy mantra is the only shelter of the desireless, pure devotees of the Lord. Simply by such tapasya or penance, the devotee of Lord achieves all perfection, like Lord Brahma. निशम्य तद्वक्त्रतिदृक्षया दिशो विलोक्य तत्रान्यदपश्यमान सदिष्ण्ययम् आस्ताय विमृश्य यतत्थितं तपस्य उत्पादित विवादते मनः. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker searching on all sides, but when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. These all purports now we read. Again, we are doing. Very important thing is we can again discuss them. And we are getting a different understanding. And again, you sit and you read, you get a different understanding. So that is the power of this transcendental knowledge. We completed all. We read previously. Again, you read, you feel new. That is how it is. To achieve success in life, Prabhupada writes, one should follow the example of Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. After being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. And although he could not find anyone besides himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by Lord himself. Brahma was the only living being at the time because there was no other creature and no one could be found there except him. In the beginning of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is already being mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. The Lord is within every living entity as a super soul. And he initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive initiation. That means you are ready to do tapasya. Prabhupada, right? The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. All as already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual matter for this universe. Since he was initiated by Lord himself, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciple section. In order to receive the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of it. The purpose you have to approach the current link. That means we should have a living guru. After being initiated by the proper spiritual master in the chain of successor, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya in the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma or to be initiated directly by the Lord. Inside, because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahmaji. So Prabhupada writes about Brahma. Prabhupada. The Lord Himself appears as the spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential and beloved representative of the Lord. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it must be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of the Lord. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।